Hey, how's it going? I hope you're doing good. So, as I was cooking over here, getting it ready to do stuff, I ended up getting some of the highest resistance in terms of figuring out how I'm cooking everything and what I'm cooking. So, let me just try to fix this. So, I'm over here, and what I'm doing is somehow I was talking to my mom or whatnot, and I kept getting, my mom bought this bag of Ore-Ida French fries, basically. They're frozen. I'm getting a little worried because they're thawing. But she basically had them in the fridge, and this slide bottom fridge, everything is caught in it. So, my mom's upset, yelling and stuff. I go outside, I'm trying to fill soda in the fridge, and the potted plants falls over. So now I got potted plants on the floor in the garage. I'm trying to call my mom. She's getting upset. As I was trying to put some of this pork fat into the this dish, because I said I'll just finish the French fries, okay? What I ended up doing was saying, you know what? I've got this leftover pieces of pork fat, okay? And I can cut those up and put those in there too. But I said, as I was doing it, I said, why don't I just throw them back in this bag? Because my mom cut off the top, okay? It's a perforated top. And mix them up with the French fries, and then put them all back in the baking dish. So that's basically what I've been doing. And so I have pieces here, like this size, and they will just basically go into the bag, okay? And as I was doing it, I was getting maximum resistance, okay? Like, real heavy resistance. Now, some of these pieces of pork, right, pork fat, right, have a little bit of pork in them as well, okay? So, there's just little tiny bits, little pieces of pork that would be tough to cut out and isolate on its own, okay? And so what I can kind of do is basically just throw this back in the bag, in the original bag it came in. That's why I'm saying it, right? Because I'm going to actually use the bag, as opposed to laying it in the baking dish, or in this dish on the bottom. What I basically do is just put it back into the bag. And as I was doing it, I was getting really heavy resistance on the cooking, right? It was like everything was falling on the floor, and I'm like, why is this doing this? And, what's the problem? I'm not going to eat it out of this bag or cook it in this bag, right? It's just simply going to mix it in the original bag with the pork fat, okay? And so I just get these basically pieces and strips of this pork fat with pork on it. Some of the pieces have pork on it. And I don't know exactly how much I'm doing. I'm not really super familiar with this recipe, okay? It's not really a recipe. It's just me sort of cooking and stuff. But some of these pieces, I would heat up and put in a sandwich or something. Not too much, but some of it. And sometimes you get pieces of the pork in there as well. And so I got to try to get some of these larger pieces out. Cut these up. And some of them are a little bit char. And that's why sometimes if you're going to cook the pork fat, right, you don't want to let them get so charred. Like some of these pieces are real sort of hard and charred, right? It'll mess up everything. So I'm just going to cut these real small and get those sort of in there as well. Because if they go much past this, see, some of this is basically chewy pork, right? It almost would qualify if you tried to manufacture it at that cooking level, right? For some like a piece of jerky, right? Like a pork jerky or something. Okay, just basically dried, cooked, and then dried and flavored low fat, strips of beef or pork, right? But because it cooks so long, it dries out. That's the comparison I'm making. So it's not the same process, right? Obviously, as a beef jerky or pork jerky or whatever. I don't know it's probably tougher to find pork jerky. But as I get these pieces of fat in there, right, into this bag, and they mix around, okay, with the frozen potatoes, okay, I can shake up this bag. Basically just shake this bag up and get that all mixed in there, basically, okay? Just how I want that, okay? Hopefully all of them don't just go to the bottom. That's why I have strips in there. The strips, if I do little crumbly pieces, they should all go to the bottom. But since I'm doing strips, they should mix and stick to the French fries. That way I don't have a problem putting everything in the bottom of this. I have a little bit of fat that goes in the bottom. And then these fat strips basically just go back in the bag as I stir. And then what I realized, which is actually better, I don't actually have to finish the entire bag of French fries because, as my mom said, right, you know, eat what you want, but then call me before you remove anything, and don't overeat, basically, is the problem. So as soon as she sees how much French fries are, if I'm not able to eat every single French fry, right, she's going to come back and say, you're wasting the French fries. So if I'm wasting the French fries, by using the bag and not taking all the French fries out of the bag, right, what I basically can do, okay, is only use part of what's in the bag and then refreeze it, okay? So that's the part I'm getting to. That's why I decided to finally go live on Facebook, because once it goes back in the bag, I don't have to eat all the French fries like I was planning on before. I don't have to just dump all the French fries into this dish and cook it in the oven. I can take them out of the bag, and this will be the last one I'll do here. This one is almost too hard, and I'm not going to actually use that because it won't cook, it won't soften, it won't be good to eat. And I've got one strip here that's actually pretty long. And by using up all this fat, all the pork that I bought, right, I'm using much more of the meat. I'm not discarding it. I'm not cooking a huge amount all at once, okay? And it seems to be a little bit more level for me. Okay, now, as I shake this up, I'm trying to get as much in there as I can. Get that all shaked up because it's going to go right back in the freezer. And I wonder where the bag clip went, too. Now, as I lay these in here, right, I'm hoping I get sort of a good mix. And I don't get the best mix possible, okay? But it's sort of okay. And that's all the French fries I need. I don't need any more than that. That's a plenty for one day's serving or 1 hour serving or whatever. And then this can gently fit back into that freezer so that I'm not jamming it into the door. And then I can lay this back in there so I don't have that problem again. Because these freezers, see, I'm getting it smashed. And I don't really know how these expensive freezers work all the time. I don't mean to complain like that. It's just sometimes stuff lays in there and it all goes in. Other times it clinks and clanks. Now what I can do, basic sort of fork and knife here, is just sort of stir this around and get some of these strips around here. And then I also have a little bit of fat in the bottom of this, so you can see this kind of here. And I want to get this sort of more laid across here as uniform sort of as possible in this. And then that's basically what it looks like, is just sort of that mixed up French fries, right? And fat in there, okay? And then this is going to go in the oven. What I did is I set the oven a little bit hotter than normal, and I'll lower the time, okay? Because it is a French fry, and I want it to get that hot temperature real fast. All right, here we go. Now, basically, got to go just a little bit further. Now, we're basically just going to see how that goes. It's a really high temperature for me. I'm not that comfortable with how high the temperature is, so I've got to watch it. It's way above a fry temperature. And so I've just got to kind of stay with it and see what the deal is. In the meantime, if your parents are into food sealing, what you can do is look at certain stuff. This was in the freezer, and some of these bags just float around and around. I said, I'm going to defrost this. This will go back in the refrigerator, and then I'll start using this, okay? This is dry salami, peppered and plain, okay? But it's from 3 years ago, over 3 years ago. So I'm going to let this defrost and go at this, you know, on sandwiches and stuff in a little while. I thought I saw a little tube or something. I got a little worried. But it was just a piece of the fat pressing on the other fat. So I don't think I have to tell my mom I'm going to defrost the salami. I think it'll be okay, but you never know. The next thing I'm going to do is take out the garbage, because the garbage is full here. So I'll show you how I take out the garbage. So here's the garbage. We got this little sliding thing here. The garbage bag comes out, okay? Tie the garbage bag, and then we walk it out to the garbage. So you can walk out to the garage with me. It's kind of fun. This used to be, and then we're going to do a little bit of the yard work too, because I got to put these potted plants back on. Real quick, I'm going to get a sip of soda. Real quick, sip of soda. Potted plants fall. They were on a lid or something. So we opened the garage. Sorry, I got... And then as you can see here, the potted plants totally fell. So I have to do gardening in the garage. Doesn't sound too fun. Okay, this comes up here into the garbage. Now we come over here. I'm going to leave this door open, and I don't have any gloves. Here are my mom's gloves. I'm actually going to set this up here. This is sort of an old smoker item. And you can see here, I'm going to tilt this down. Tilt that up, and then tilt this down. But it changes the weight. You see it there? All right, so now what I got to do, I got to get some gloves. I think I had some gloves over here. I was right. Where did some of this stuff has got to be moved or adjusted. Oh, they're up here in I've got an old toolkit from when I was a boy. And I got gloves up here, so I'm going to use them. There's some warm gloves. She said, just put this back on. This, I get the soil, potting soil on the Dr. Pepper. It becomes sort of a mess. That's why you got to have a plastic covering on some of this stuff. Everything in the garage gets mixed up together. It becomes a big problem. I mean, you're walking by, you got the blower here, and that's actually what I'm going to do, is I'm going to gently use this blower and blow this out of the garage. So I'm going to open the second one to make sure I don't have a lot of bad feedback. And then I got to get it out of the way of these. So these have to come over here. That's where this is going to go. And then I just got to use the broom to kind of sweep this across. And then we got all this other junk in here and stuff, which actually is an interesting one. I don't know if you can see this down here. We've got a grate in here that does not drain. We've got so much gunk down there, it's pretty much all got to come out. So we're going to need a chipper, which for me is this old fire thing. And all this stuff that's dug in here from the car and a battery, it's all going to go in the garbage. I got to go get that garbage so I can throw it out. If I use the blower on it, it'll flake and come up way high and be a big problem. If you have drains that are not used in a garage anymore, it creates a big problem. So what you want is just start scooping this layer. It almost like cracks and flakes with the battery down here. I don't know how deep it goes. It's got to probably go into some sort of a foundation in the gravel. But you don't want this cake down there. That's a little spider. I thought maybe that's a whitish spider or something. Because otherwise you can't use the blower. It's almost like a cat litter type thing. I don't know who did this or who put this here, type of operation they're running. Got an old clipped cable in there. Old pieces of broken down cement. It's like a dig pit. If you can see this down here, whoever decided to come up with this idea is just about as dumb as bricks. Right there. So all this caked in stuff. You got a tag here for something. I don't know if you can see that tag. I mean, who put this junk in there? I don't know. It's all got to go in the garbage. And even on the edges, you get the rust of that grate on this cement. All got to go back in there. So I don't know how far this goes. Sometimes you talk to your friends, you're like, oh, they have that set up perfectly. You're like, I don't really think this is perfect. But, and then this has got to go. So this is back to brick, which is good. I mean, back to gravel, which is, I guess, is the intention. I don't exactly know how deep it goes or what the exact purpose of it is. But that's how it's going to stay. And then what I got to do, because I'm going to use the blower, is I got to put a cover on it. And I'm going to be a total dirtball and use a Coca-Cola box. I could just simply use the full heavy Coca-Cola, but because this Coca-Cola box has plastic, and I'm just going to set it on there, okay? And this has got to go in the garbage. So I'm going to just basically try to lay this on here because I got to blow the grate and blow all this stuff out of here. If you have parents who are hyper particular and allow problems to continue, the best time to do this is when they're not here. They'll start saying, oh, I need that pasta sauce. Or, get me that pasta sauce. How much more pasta can you buy? And why don't you buy more pasta? And why don't we add some pasta to that? All kinds of crap. All right. So, now what we got to do is just get this blown out of here. And you can see the rusty grate out there. No stainless steel there. And then we're pretty much just going to blow this out here starting here. Okay, you ready? It's going to be loud. The rusty grate has got to go on the box over the hole. And then this, you can see this pieces of rust, this rusty grate. This is an imperfect solution, okay, that we're just trying to get resolved here. So now, in order to not lose all the potting soil, I'm going to use a little brush, but I'm not going to use the potting soil because it's been on the garage floor. It's just going to go in the bucket. this goes in the bucket, and I gotta throw this out. So in the winter, when the car comes in with all the snow and ice, it rolls back into there and we'll get that sort of that muddy sort of padding again. But as for now, this basically is gonna all be thrown out, which is sort of fine. Just a bunch of dirt and whatever else was in there. All right. Then, what we got to do is just run this blower as carefully as we can. And that's why there's an adjustable knob on it. When you have an adjustable knob on it, you don't have to run it at max. So many things are only run, and quite frankly, best run at max. But if you don't have to run it at max, and you can run it at a gentler speed, you gain a lot. So that's what we're going to try back here. Instead of rotating this full, we're going to do soft. That's what we do. See, it rotates right back. Tipping over some of the other scoopable things right there. And when you got to go to the higher speed, you got some of these cobwebs and stuff that gather, that just collect over time. And some of this stuff's going to come back down. But as it comes back down, it's off the wall, right? When it's off the wall, right, it comes off the wall, it's off the ceiling, it comes back down to the ground. The next time you run the blower, it can get blown out of here. Or if the car comes in wet, it becomes part of that mud that goes back down to this collection thing. So that's sort of just getting out that garage. And as you can see there, that's all cleaned up. There's not even really much of a trace. There's a little bit of moisture, okay, from the items. And other than that, we just put this stuff away. Dustpans just go right back there. Then we got to fix this guy. That's what we got to do. Just by taking the plastic off here. I've already broken down the box inside the plastic. And this pretty much just goes in the garbage. So I didn't really need to use it, but I thought, hey, if you get that, high power blower stuff going through there, it's going to blow all that stuff out of there. You want just sort of a basic cover, but you don't want it totally blocked. And then this area pretty much looks a little bit better. I mean, sometimes you can do, years of work on just basic stuff that's tough to clean, So, and I was right there, and as I was coming by, I just knocked it over. So, it's back over there now. And I can unplug this, close the garage doors, put away my gloves in my toolkit over here. Go back inside, wash my hands. It's just, we're going to use the blower quite a bit, so we're just going to keep moving this on back over here. It's not the best spot for it, but it's so frequent to use. Blowers are used so often in the United States and maybe elsewhere. They just get that stuff moving around out of where it needs to be. So, and then I'll use the utility closet. We have a utility closet here, and that's where you do the laundry. And that's why I wash my hands in a utility sink, so that all the grime and stuff from the gloves doesn't get heavy into the food and stuff like that. So I know it sounds kind of funny because out there all the soda and excess food in the refrigerators and freezers, right? My mom said she had to order a new freezer for out there. Sometimes you think, well, the old ones work so well. If it ain't broke, why fix it, right? But sometimes the door opens accidentally and they've got keys on them and stuff. And all that safety stuff sort of takes over. I don't know, maybe the new one will be better or it'll freeze harder, the stuff. So, and then from here, pretty much go about our normal way. We gotta put the garbage bag, the new garbage bag back in the garbage. So we spend about half our time with these French fries. We're gonna take them out a little early if I turn on the light and see how they are. If you're able to move home and do some of this stuff on an actual home like this is, right, it really ends up becoming very beneficial because that stays. So these are not really frying yet, even at this high temperature. It's really odd for me to see it here. So we're not getting a fry action at this temp, at this number of minutes. What we're going to do is we're going to drop it down and that's where we're going to leave it, so that we let some of that heat escape. Otherwise, it's just going to keep getting hotter. We're just going to get dry French fries with no fry. Bring this over here. Sit down here. You get going, you get doing stuff. It seems like you never want to stop because there's so much. Sometimes a lackadaisical schedule is better than a structured one, because on a list of things to do, I would probably never say, come down here, cook French fries, cut up pork fat and pork meat, put it in the bag, shake the bag, bake a portion in the oven, go out and accidentally knock over the potted plants, fix the potted plants, run the blower, clean out the drain gutter in the garage, right? Clean out the mud and the battery and the tags and stuff like that. Would never really say that. It just wouldn't really come up. It would all be separate guides and sections. Garage clean here, organized garage here. You'd end up spending about 5 or 10 hours in the garage over maybe a couple days. This way you just do one item at a time, but you seem to go from item to item. It's that, sort of beautiful restaurant idea where, you pick up the empty glass from the table, you take it to the dishwasher, you happen to pick up some extra napkins or table sets, you put them there, then you clean up silverware. It's just sort of running from place to place. You seem to become more effective and maximize your time rather than, just simply station to station. But most of the time, station to station with a full team gets a lot more done anyway. That's sort of the difference, right? You got your Applebee's, your, Cracker Barrel type restaurants where, it's station to station, or even bigger, right? Cafeteria type places, right? Your fast food restaurants that are just below that in terms of, dining, right? So, and then beyond that, you've got somebody who's got, like I was saying, their pasta restaurant, right? We need more pasta because last year everybody came and wanted pasta and pasta sauce. So now we've got a whole, storage area of pasta and pasta sauce. What happened? Nobody bought pasta this year. So what are we going to do with all this pasta? There's not a lot you can make other than store it for later. Does anyone want pasta? Is there anyone who wants pasta sauce? make breadsticks. And then you heat up the marinara, you dip the breadsticks in there, you add your seasonings, maybe some cheese, and you got a good recipe. So, but not everybody can make breadsticks, you know. And sometimes you can't figure everything out. I'm going to try to plug in the phone again so I don't lose battery charge on it. This is the Sun Valley magazine. It's got sort of a money type of texture to it. That's what it looks like. You got Lee Gilman Builders Incorporated on the back. They build all these homes and stuff. I mean, I don't know whose homes they build and stuff. I mean, but like big homes, stuff like that. All right. The habitat issue. Fall of 2020. 2021, Idaho Trees, Glenn Jantz. I think there was a Glenn Jantz Center. I don't know. Anyway, free ride bike trails, dream homes, outdoor living. Sun Valley. It's an $8 magazine, $7.95. So sometimes that's why you want a subscription or you pick it up at the doctor's office or whatever. So Sun Valley and Hawaii. Look at the dry-wet connection. Dry, wet, different styles. Hawaii's wet. Sun Valley's dry. So, all right, Optimum Glass Masters. So it has been raining here though. So look at these places. I mean, a place like this you'd pretty much die for, right? Just a whole area here. There's maybe a pool down here. I mean, real nice there, luxury. Dreams. Whitetail Club. I don't know where is it. It's in Boise. So, McCall. So, it's not here. McCall, Idaho. Oh, I'm getting some spit up from being out in the garage. It's no good when you have Coca-Cola. You just got to sort of deal with it. They got all these kind of sky-high ideas. Charter private jets for fun events. Fun events, it maybe works, but who knows? You know, you get those accounts, but you're like, wait a minute, it's not a corporate account. Is it a corporate account? It's actually not a jet, it's a prop plane, a propeller plane. But there may also be jet on the back. I don't really know. So, private airlines. Rocky Mountain. This is what I'm talking about. Those $6,000, $8,000 appliances, right? You know, special knobs and freezers and stuff. Does it get everything cold? I don't know. Does it? Maybe yes, maybe no. Okay. Let's see. Architects. More architects. More ranch. This is around where we live, but this is up near the top of it, near the golf course. Just up and around here. Windy road. You know, that windy road in the winter, it gets a lot of snow and ice on it. It gets a little worrisome. You're like, wow, I got to make sure I can get my car home. So, Architectura, P.A. Some of this stone type of stuff. Here's the grocery store I was going to. I'll show it right here. That's Atkinson's. That's the local grocer. I was talking to you about that and make sure I get my right name on the receipt. They got these little pastry cakes. I don't know if that's savory or sweet. They've got sesame or salt or something. So they are a premium grocer. So it does cost more money to shop there. Madison, Double R Ranch, something or other. We got the cable television ads. Interior design. All this stuff. Silver Creek, you want to go shooting and fishing. Those are your guys right there. Getting loves from a dog. Go fly fishing. I didn't know they did shooting, but I guess they do. The guy's got the shotgun shells there. So, where great stories begin. They're in Outfitters in town. I thought they moved, but I guess they didn't. I don't know. They're on Main Street or downtown. Yeah, usually some like teenagers or guys in college will get jobs. Then they decide they want to be a guide. They got to know where to go hunting, where to go fishing. sometimes rafting on rivers and stuff, how to get there. Sometimes the helicopter skiing, all that stuff. So I don't really do any of it anymore at all, really. A lot of people have the taxidermy on the walls, okay? Taxidermy right there. It's common. My brother-in-law and my sister, they have a taxidermy, but it's a wood carving. So it's carved out of wood, and it wasn't an actual animal, which is kind of neat, but also very expensive, I would assume. You know. So this guy is a falconer, or he's doing some falconing. High risk adventure there. That bird wants to latch on. It's tough. It's high risk. That guy's Gabe Border. Gabe Border spends more time chasing his peregrine falcon. That's a euphemism, I'm sure. Than actually catching grouse with it. He's also guilty of false casting too much. That's when I think in fly fishing, if you overcast, see the problem when you cast the fly fishing, if you overcast, the fly that you're casting shoots too far out. If you keep casting and casting without laying the fly on the river, right, where it either floats, which is dry fly, or in the water. If it sinks in the water, they got different names for it. Then I guess you're false casting. You're just sort of casting, and then you cast and lay the fly out there. Anyway, regardless, when not photographing architecture and food, Gabe enjoys learning about building science and cooking with his wife Emily. Gabe's work has appeared Architectural Digest, Dwell, Lux, Elle Decor, and the Wall Street Journal. Leveling Up, page 54. Let's take a look at Gabe. Gabe's a falconer. We better take a look at Gabe. We skip this guy. I'm telling you, these guys are smart. They're like, skip me. Just don't read my article. Keep going to that Gabe guy. We'll keep that falcon photo there. That's the difference, right? You're out in the mountains. People don't want to be noticed. People want business stuff, but they don't necessarily want notoriety. Okay, Leveling Up. Here it is, off the cover. All right. Photos, Gabe Border. So let's just do the photos. I'm not going to read the article. Caroline Albro. Let's see. Here are the photos by Gabe. Looks nice. Is that a shower? It looks like a shower. Some of this stuff becomes real tough to clean, but it ends up being really nice too. So there's the photos. Nice photos and stuff. I mean, growing up, you thought, wow, this magazines, right? How much would it cost? $30, $40, $150 for one magazine because these photos are so expensive. But they can be printed. And Finding Home. Architect Mark DeRoos creates a sense of place in the valley. We're going to end there. See how these French fries are doing. I'm going to look in the oven first, the oven light. We have a start of a fry. So we don't turn them. We're just going to leave them. And we need about 6 minutes. Timer. Start. All right. There's a little bit of moisture on top. You know, the problem is the fat does not get all the way into the top of the French fries. So I'm hoping the top French fries aren't too dry, the bottom fries aren't too soggy. And I may end up adding a cheese to it. Just eat them out of the dish. Cheese fries in the dish. Sort of a common, fun type of thing. Suppose I'll get these are my mom's. I'll get one of these. I'll lay this over here. And you might need 2 of them. A trivet. Maybe I'll go with the metal trivet. Do we have a metal trivet anymore? Where are the metal trivets? I'm gonna get a metal trivet instead. Fine. Where were we with the trivets? We get rid of the trivets? Why did we get rid of the trivets? Let's move it over here. We used to have these like cast iron trivets that were great for this. But my mom moved stuff. I have no idea where she put everything. Trivets. Where are the trivets? Trivets. There are no trivets in here. Why did we get rid of the trivets? We used to have so many trivets. There was endless supply of trivets. Is that an empty bottle of tequila? Here is danger number 1. An opened bottle of tequila, and I'm supposed to throw this away, but my mom is going to scream at me. The seal is broken, so why is it there? And that's one of those things, right? It's old, it's stained, throw it out. It's in a plastic bottle. But I don't throw it away. Why do we not have trivets? Some weird, kitchen exercise gets thrown out of proportion. All of a sudden, everybody's got to get rid of their trivets. I have a rubber mat. Rubber mats are not trivets. I can use the fanciest. We have the fanciest. Getting a sweet baker smell there. All right, we'll use the fanciest. We even have a fanciest trivet set anymore. Maybe we got rid of it. We used to have all these in one spot. My mom will get mad at me though. Bring in that. I want to use the fanciest. Oh, here they are. Tile trivets. Here we go. Here we go. We got our tile trivets here. These are tiles. We use them as trivets. This one here obviously is made by Adrian. I don't know if that's my niece or my sister. That's Adrian right there. That's a tile one. Then we have this one, which are just sort of slate. This might flake over time, but you see they put the cork on the bottom. And they got 2 of them. And then this one is made in Italy. Look at that right there, a piece of this. So this is what we're going to use. It's got these on the bottom. So that's actually what we're going to use as a trivet. So I can put that on there. Now I'm going to take this out at 6. I'll wash my hands real quick. Let's put some cheese on the fries. Dry my hands. Just have a little bit of cheese here. Is there any other shredded cheese here? So this and that. And I'm actually going to leave this. I should finish it, but I don't think I need to. I'm going to finish this. And I'm going to set this over here. And then it's got to go back in the oven for a couple minutes. I can try to stir it just a tiny bit. But that's basically what we're getting. So it'll be a little bit soggy here. And I'll try to just do a gentle flip to spoon here. Just a gentle flip with the spoon. All right, I do have a dark-ended French fry in there, and then we add the cheese. My oven. All right, this goes back in the oven. Extra moisture in there. All right. All right. We'll raise the temperature just a little bit. Oh, it's... Get a napkin, knife and a fork, and a plate. Residue in there. Thought I heard something just pop. Can open the window a little bit. With the oven on, it gets a little bit warm. I don't know if it's going to be hot today or not. I'll unplug this charger. Just leave this over here. Getting a little bit of a headache now. So I'll turn on the TV. I ended up watching some of the women's final of the French Open. I can't remember who won. Both names ended in Kova. Let's see what we have on here. They were doing some old soccer matches. We're going to watch Cheaters. Paulette Jones. Oh, it's a movie? I thought it was a TV show. NutriChopper.
Love and Hip Hop Atlanta is back.
All right, let's see. Guide. Cheaters, drama, reality, romance, 2021. Paulette Jones finds out the truth about her fiance's infidelity.
Paulette to divulge the results of the investigation. Resolute and determined, Paulette prepares to face an unpleasant revelation.
This is serious stuff.
Paulette, thanks for being here this evening. I know that the last few months have been difficult for you. I know you're anxious to find out the information that our detectives have, and I'm not going to take any more time. You ready to look at that now? You can stay right there. Paulette, as we began our investigation, we were outside of Vaughn's home. That's just the home that he's working on.
Yes, and that's his suburban.
Well, this afternoon, our detectives followed him until he arrived at a restaurant.
I'm gonna get a little bit of cheese sauce. Or not cheese sauce.
A young lady,
Ketchup. I'm gonna get some ketchup.
as he approached the entrance,
And maybe make fry sauce. But everybody has their own recipe for fry sauce. They make it now.
inside.
Mine is pretty simple. Ketchup and mayonnaise.
Witnesses in a booth. They're on the same side.
I'm not gonna add maybe I'll add some relish. Do we have tartar? Tartar sauce or relish?
Time they
The
exit.
relish has not been opened.
He gets in his
So I'm gonna open
He
it.
takes off. And she departs as well.
So I'm gonna add relish.
Vaughn is again in
I
his
don't know
truck.
if I'm gonna add relish. I think I'm gonna hold off on relish.
He meets this young lady.
I'm gonna make relish.
At
But what I'm gonna do is just cut up bits
now
bits of my own pickles, so I use them up instead because I'll show you here.
to a restaurant.
This is the
At
difference.
some point during the meal,
This relish
he goes
has not been opened,
from her side of the
so it hasn't been opened. The seal's not broken. This, the pickles that I bought, has been opened. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make a little pickle station here.
they each go in their own direction.
What I'm gonna do is cut up the pickles
Much time to need.
and then add the mayonnaise. I'm gonna use a couple different bowls.
Where does he think you are?
At school until 10.
Earlier this evening, he met the same young lady, and they're at a function that is not very far from here. Let's go ahead and get in the van. I'll call my detective from there, and we'll find out if he can give me an update on their whereabouts or their location.
So what I'm basically gonna try to do
Come
is drain.
on. Yeah,
We'll try to use the rest of these pickles.
play's over. Okay. We're rolling right now. Starting to see some vehicle.
I screwed up. Okay. Then this goes back in here.
Just follow these guys right here.
This goes back in here. Then I dump out the pickle juice.
All right, coming up on the door. Where's he at?
Then I pour the pickles in here. It's a lot of pickles, but I want to finish this up. I'll use some of the mustard seeds. Throw this jar out. And basically what I do
Deliciousness is back.
is I cut the pickles,
First, get ready. To spice up your summer.
but not by too much. Only about 3 or 4. This one I don't need, but I'll leave it in there.
Night at 7 and 7:30. I'm always so impressed. Summer tastes like funny. Deliciousness. All new episodes start Monday, June 21st at 7 on MTV.
Arby's doesn't have a beef with burgers.
This will be very chunky.
Arby's does have a beef with beef that has.
And then what I do, because I don't want to get all the extra juice, pickle juice, in what I'm cooking, or in the fry sauce, so I separate this out. I basically shake up the ketchup. I have Heinz here. So I didn't get the liquid in the ketchup. Then basically just pour this in here. Doesn't sound great, but it sounds fine.
Got
All right, that's the ketchup. And then just basically a nice good spoonful of mayonnaise.
Vivo, the bioselective insecticide. It targets and shuts down biological pathways found in insects, not in people or pets. That's what makes Vivo so deadly for bugs, plus safe to use around people and pets.
So hopefully this mayonnaise is still good.
But you've got Vivo, way smarter than bugs. Now at Walmart, Target, and Home Depot.
When it's others first, you send it. We see you. When you give tirelessly, we see you. Summer's Eve sees all of them.
And then basically stir this around. And that's sort of fry. So some people add a little bit of something or other to it or whatever. But what I'm going to do is basically just add the pickles to the top. So I sort of have this mayonnaise and ketchup. You know, it's all that secret sauce. I mean, it's the same thing as barbecue, right? If I just took a couple barbecue sauce and said, hey, here's barbecue. Somebody say, hey, that's not the secret recipe or whatever. These fries are just about done. Now, as I got this in here, what I do is I just lay some of these pickles on here. But I try to leave some of the juice in the bottom of this. Dried pickles would be sort of great. Not totally dry, though. Okay, now I'm going to go get... So I just have some pickles on top of that ketchup and mayonnaise. All right, this thing is totally done. Where are the other hot pads? Oh, here they are.
And to finish it off with delightful sprinkling of garlic and herb seasoning.
And that's actually exactly what I'm going to do.
Tell your manager.
I'm going to add pepper to the top of this.
I don't know that he'll accept that.
The Edge is back with 4 new recipes. Get it before it's gone. No one on Pizza Hut.
I'll try one
And that's what goes right on. Oh, where'd the pepper go?
more.
All right, so this is super hot. I don't know if you can see it there. It's boiling, almost overcooked. So I'm going to add pepper right to the top of it. Just let it sort of fry in there. And then basically got to scoot this closer and raise this. Hold on. All right.
The new normal creating new connections.
So we can see it here.
Stranger stories and and even wilder reveals. When you get Kevin you're ready to reel them in. What the heck is going on? New world.
There we go. So we got a little bit of this fry here, sauce with the pickles. We'll basically just start pulling some of this out of here onto the plate. I do want to get the hot pad so I don't burn my hand. They did not crisp totally. This maybe is too much fat. I can't see exactly what she's talking about. Just about burned my finger. Now what I'll do is add the ketchup and mayonnaise with the pickles on top. Is there a huge fight? All right, so I got my sauce on there, and I got the pickles and the ketchup and the French fries and the pork fat. It's gonna be super hot. I gotta let it sit. I always burn my mouth. Can't do it this time. I'm gonna get more of the pickles. There is some crunchiness to them, which is good. I'll leave a couple of the other pickles. It's definitely not something that I would get from a restaurant. The potatoes are soft; they're not crunchy. Wow. This ends up being really good. I got a little bit of feeling like my grandparents' ranch. This car won't start.
Oh my god, it just feels worse than just watching it.
I want to make sure I get the pickles.
You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine. Okay? You know that.
It needs good.
I'm learning. I'm intelligent. I know
Get another fork for the rest of the fries.
this and anything else. Because when I survive this, I will be able to go through it. And I'm going to survive this.
It's fine. Do whatever makes you happy. This is still iCarly, but it's grown up now.
Darkness is headed to your life. You let it happen. You see into your first life. Turn it on reincarnation.
Wow, this piece looks like a little.
Hungry for something hot and juicy.
Sorry, I might have to plug that in the phone. This piece looks like a little piece of, almost like a piece of bacon. The way it cooked.
Chicken sandwich from Carl's Jr. and Hardee's.
I've got a lot of advice about my abdominal pain, diarrhea, and constipation.
High-fiber diet.
Low fiber diet.
The low power light came on, so
Then I've got cultural ideas
I'm gonna plug in the phone just a minute.
for symptom-free days.
Chicken pickle. The fun. That's right.
Wow.
It's naked.
The naked chicken chalupa. Only at Taco Bell.
It's gotta come all the way back here.
At Bare Naked, soft-baked granola clusters are handpicked by our very own Bare Naked granola bags. Honey, oats, nuts, and fruit. Satisfying enough for a bear, clean enough to be naked. Bare Naked granola. Feed your bear. If you love it, introducing Colliders, your favorite candy flavors, twisted, chopped, or layered into
Well, everything goes
a spoon.
poorly.
Colliders dessert.
My mom can always say, you wasted the pickles.
What makes the Popeyes chicken sandwich the sandwich? Freshly hand-battered chicken, crunchy pickles, creamy mayo, and buttered brioche buns. The only thing better than how it sounds.
I had so many in the jar
Tommy
That-
John makes the most comfortable
I don't know if I can eat them all.
Your new BFF. Our
When I was talking about koi internment
still provides
on a website, Facebook, this guy was posting basketball,
reliable, comfortable
but like
a French
tight legs,
never stab you in the back.
repaired broken back,
And let you breathe.
head in the clouds type stuff.
Free shipping and returns. Add a new BFF to your support.
Koi internment where the
Tommy John's
frog
new friend.
liquid basically gets put into your body. A lot of it is sort of based on pickles and vinegar. And so that type of food, it's appealing sometimes as it gets around you and more in the area. But sometimes it increases the ability of
Place your order. And
whoever's applying the koi internment,
this isn't just another
you know, from whatever rules or contracts or whatever, to increase it in your body.
This is a fracture.
And so you pretty much just say, whoa, like I'm getting that real bad headache, I'm going to go get sick, you know, that type of thing.
After the
And so the pickles, you sort of say, I want to eat pickles because they taste good, but
to quell her pain,
every time I do it, that internment goes way up. And you just say, I got to stop what I'm doing.
to come forward,
So,
Wes talks candidly about the night of his confrontation experience. Cheers.
so is this still Cheaters?
Wes Garrett, age 30. Wes visits to reveal how his life has changed since Cheers.
I knew something wasn't right, so I was kind of ready for it. But at the same time, I guess still had a little bit of hope that it wasn't as bad as what it was. I went through the whole spectrum of available feelings: anger, hurt, baffled. I couldn't do shit.
This is work, bitch. This is work. This is what you tell me you're going to work. Oh, this is my girl. This is work, bitch. Is this your car? This is your car. This is how you do me. Embarrass you. Who the f is supposed to be embarrassed? You're right. You're supposed to be like, no. Okay, yeah, and I'm out now. You're gonna do that to me. You.
And knowing that it was not only was she cheating, but she was cheating on me with Justin, supposed to be my homeboy, made it a lot worse.
The idea with koi
It's bad enough my wife cheating on me.
is that they have a liquid and it's around their body and stuff. And
It's made that much worse. It's like
it gets in the water of the pond where they live.
Calm down.
And then eventually a snail can be made. And then the snail will leave its shell and then become sort of a koi frog type of thing. A black koi frog kind of thing. There's different types of them, right? And so as that does that whole process, more and more liquid gets around everything. And I guess the weaponizing it was, you know, if it gets in your body, what does it do to you, right? You know, you basically erodes the center of your body. But then in theory, right, you could eventually sort of die in your own sort of, you know, liquid that would eventually become a frog that would want to eat you.
I still love her. I always love her.
So,
I really feel like she messed up a good thing to the point it's
sort of a bad thing, basically. When people get really sick, you never know. And it really affects
she's gonna regret it.
your head, your headache, which means
If she feels
as it goes into your body, anything that goes right up into your brain, if it's another type of smaller parasite or something, right, you get a terrible headache and you can basically overheat or die, right, just from getting a real bad headache. And a lot, I mean, it's impossible almost to get that stuff into your body anyway, right? Like if you buy a bad packet of fish that somehow is in the same area as the frogs are or whatever, you'd immediately get sick and be like, this is so disgusting, right? Ugh. But sometimes you don't have a very good sense of smell. Or it says it's a piece of mackerel or salmon or something. And you don't really have any idea, or you're hungry. And then when you throw it out, you're like, oh my God, it smells like, you know, a frog pond. What are we going to do? You know. So, anyhow.
Warning. Cheaters may contain adult themes and strong language. Parents are cautioned that this program may not be suitable for children. Coming up on this episode of Cheaters.
And this is the reason that we had you place the hidden camera inside.
So, pickles and relish. Wow, it tastes really good.
Cameras you were about to view
But it might be because you live near an area with frogs or a pond, or you have internment.
This program is both dedicated
And that pickling, that vinegar type thing tastes sort of good, even with, the fried fish and stuff like that. But somehow, if it reverses, right? Like you'd think people will get sick from it, but then people like it. But then they for some reason or another, it makes your internment go way up. Whatever's getting put into you goes way up. It's like, don't get me near any of that food at all. But eventually you gotta eat. You gotta eat food every day. So. So what do we got here? We got pork fat with a little bit of meat on it as well. We got Ore-Ida frozen French fries. We've got
I'm Joey Greco.
cheese, mixed shredded cheese, just shredded cheese, whatever you have. Ketchup, Heinz ketchup, mayonnaise, and pickles. It ends up being pretty good. So I can't eat it all though. That's the thing.
Jesse Jordan,
I can't eat it all.
a forklift operator, worried that his girlfriend may be having a liaison with another man.
I met about 3 years ago. It was at a job we both worked out, this fudge factory. And when I first saw her, I just knew immediately. I knew that, I had to have her. I bought a ring recently, and I just think that she's the one. My mother loves her. My family's in love with her. My dad loves her. It's all about all the time. Lately, things have been different. Like I said, it starts out subtle, little changes. 5 minutes late turns to 10 minutes late, and then it gets to bigger things where I was supposed to meet her somewhere, and she shows up 50 minutes late.
Yeah, I'm getting that headache right now.
My friends, I forgot we were supposed to hang out on Friday, when Friday has always been our day. So I have to know where we are as a relationship. I mean, after 3 years, and we're talking about marriage, and I'm feeling like I can't trust you there. I mean, I thought she was the one, man. I thought she was going to be my wife. I mean, if she's laying up with some other guy telling him the same things we talk about at night, or if they're holding hands or laughing together or kissing, whatever it is, just a note, man. The thought of that breaks my heart.
Suspect's identity withheld. Age 24. A student who may be putting her boyfriend on the back burner to focus on something other than her studies. Investigation Day 3. After a thorough background check and after studying the suspect's routine front to back, Cheaters operatives wait for their mark outside of the apartment she shares with a client. Hours into the stakeout, the suspect, whose identity remains withheld, leaves the apartment. On her way to her vehicle, she chats with what seems to be a fellow resident. Cheaters detectives follow the suspect to a supermarket. After arriving, the suspect exits her vehicle in the company
Well, anyway,
of an unidentified male.
I've got more in the freezer, and I got to remember to tell my mom, because if she takes that out and says
After stocking
it's only French fries, she'll find the pork fat in there. I don't want her to get real mad at me.
The suspect's trunk,
So-
and then they peel out. They go back to the suspect's apartment.
Let me go put that. I kind of want to see what happens in this episode.
The suspect and her companion then disappeared for the remainder of the night. Investigation Day 6. With Jesse again out on the job, Cheaters' PIs pay close attention to the suspect's activities back at the couple's home. Within hours, detectives spot the suspect.
I get another soda.
Field operatives tailor to a local gin mill. While inside, Cheaters agents watch as the suspect chops up a chum and downs a few drinks. After hitting her limit, the suspect steps out to her car and drives away. Following familiar paths, Cheaters' gumshoes find themselves back at her humble abode. The suspect makes his way up the stairs and disappears behind closed doors. Motion-sensitive cameras placed inside by Flora and Jesse catch the deploying act before than a pre-med in this conjured-up conversation with her boyfriend. The deplorable duo take the party to the bedroom, and Cheater's agents hightail it to headquarters. Investigation day 9. Once again, Cheater's agents set up shop outside of the suspect's residence. A few hours into the stakeout, PIs find the suspect leaving her home. After a short pursuit, the mark arrives at a hotel, where she grabs her garments and gets her leave. Monitoring the parking lot, field operatives observe the suspect's companion parking his vehicle and entering the
I'm
hotel.
gonna call my mom real quick.
After a brief respite inside, the cozy couple take off for a nearby tavern. There, the twosome talk a while and enjoy some drinks. Upon settling up, the duo exit the tap house, and Cheater's detectives tail them back to the seedy hotel. The suspect and her companion walk arm in arm inside, where they disappear for the remainder of the evening. With the suspect showing her true colors, Cheater's agents end the investigation.
Hey, how's it going?
Coming up, the
How's Dad doing?
confrontation.
Okay. All right. I'm just at home. I'm doing Facebook. I'm watching Cheaters on TV. I made the French fries. I mixed in some of the pork fat. So, yeah, I'll just be at home. How long is he gonna go to Twin Falls? All right. So, what time do you think you'll be home? What time is it now? Noon? It's 11:40. Okay. All right. I love you. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Then fitted with a stainless steel induction plate for even heat conduction and coated 3 times with a durable ultra non-stick granite stone fluid finish. Granite stone fluid is
I always feel like I get a guilty conscience when I ask my mom, what time are you going to be home, right? But I mean, it's like you go back and forth between like never, like my wife, Irina, would never even tell me, when she started going into this say nothing, everybody ends up getting in a fight like this Cheaters show, right? You either say every place you go or you say 0 places you go. But when I was growing up, right, you had to know some type of location or place when you were going to get home because, I'm going to go run over to the neighbors or we're going to go camping or something. And, are you going to be home the next day? Or are you coming home in the middle of the night? I mean, how long is it going to take for you to get to where you're going and come home? What's going to happen when you get there? Same thing with the hospitals, right? And with Irina, she made it sound like I was just a complete idiot, right? Like, well, if you go to the hospital, a lot of times they want to do an extenuated procedure and it goes into surgery right then. And if it's 4 PM or noon, sometimes it's a 6-hour surgery. So, you got to get prepped for surgery for 2.5 hours. That takes you to 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then that goes into 9 o'clock at night. And then you got to wait an hour for, coming out of surgery, then 2 hours of sort of post-surgery before they go into a recovery room, right? You're looking at midnight or 1 o'clock, 2 in the morning. My mom would be exhausted. So, you always got to ask, but at the same time, it's like, double check here, double check there. But it just ends up being a total problem. So, otherwise they're like, who cares? Who do you care when I come home? Or what are you doing when I'm doing this? Or, none of your business. Or, get out of my face or whatever. It's just like, you can't deal with anything. I mean, how does anybody stay safe, right? But anyway, I'm going to end there. I hope you're doing good. Actually, I want to see this meetup.
Yes, I do. That's why I contacted you. I want to know what's going on.
As we started our investigation, we had a detective that was outside of your home. On this evening, we observed as she left the residence. As she left, there was a silhouette of a gentleman, but we believed it to be your brother. They were followed until they arrived at a supermarket. At this point,
It looked like somebody's arm or shoulder was some guy's face who had gotten beat up.
they get back in the car, unload, and go back inside. On this evening, we observed as she left your apartment, she's followed until she arrives at a bar, has a conversation with the young lady that's at the bar with her. She gets back in the car, and she goes home. And this is the reason that we had you place the hidden camera inside. Once there, we see some activity between. And I know that you can't even imagine. It's all right. Give it a second or two.
Why doesn't he take a travel monitor instead of just the little camcorder? I guess phones are good.
It's quite a shock, isn't it? Take some time if you need to. Jesse, I know that this is the farthest thing from what you expected tonight. Where did she tell you that she was going to be this evening?
She teaches tomorrow. She'll probably be staying at the hotels. I mean, the school is a bit of a drive, so she had to
Okay,
use
so
my credit
she's
card again tonight.
so she's staying at a hotel this evening because she's got to.
She has to prepare for it tomorrow.
All right, I'm going to check with our detective and see if I can get an update on what the situation is. You know, he's shaken up. Okay, they're still inside.
My headache is
Okay.
bad.
Hang on, let me let him know. Let me tell him. Okay, they're still inside. Okay. All right. It's quite a distance away, Jesse. So we probably need to get moving to get over there.
Okay.
All right.
T and I were in love, at least I thought.
All right, I'm going to end there. I hope you're doing good. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.